Witches, welcome to episode 2 of our Witchcraft 101. I'm really going to be focusing on this topic a lot during the month of June, so if this is interesting stuff to you, stay tuned. I'll be having all sorts of other types of videos as well throughout the year, but really in June I wanted to kind of return to my roots and talk about some of those basic concepts in witchcraft, because I've been practicing for 12 years, but it is always so good to go back and review, because oftentimes you find, or at least personally, I find a new perspective or, a new way of looking at these things and new applications for my own personal practice. So for today, we are going to be talking all about sacred spaces and safe places within witchcraft. In my personal practice, I define a sacred space as a place where you go to connect with the divine, whether that be a god or goddess, or both, however many you so choose, or just connecting with the universe, the source, whatever you choose to call it, whatever that looks like for you. Now, these spaces can be either static or dynamic. An example of a static sacred space would be a space around my altar, a specific room, or like a shelf you might have dedicated to your practice. Or it can be dynamic, so you can create your own sacred space anywhere you are, anywhere in the world, by delineating a boundary, whether that be energetic or not, and doing what we call calling in a circle. We're going to talk about that a little bit more in the next video as well, so keep that, put a pin in that for now. But just know that wherever you are in the world, it is always okay, and you are always able to call in a circle and create a sacred space whenever you so need it. Now let's move on to sacred spaces indoors. Some examples of sacred spaces that are indoors might be your altar space, like I talked about. An altar is a place where witches perform spells, commune with their deities, maybe have a journal or do some tarot reading, whatever that might look like to you. There are different types of altars. I have some that stay the same, and another one where I change literally almost on a daily basis. So there is no wrong way or right way to have an altar. It's whatever works for you. For a very long time, my sacred space was a tiny tucked away corner in my bedroom, especially when I was a teenager, because I was forbidden from doing witchcraft. I still definitely did it because, rebel, but I had just a very small corner in my room. Now I have a whole room in my house dedicated to it, as an adult, because I was choices, I can do this now, excellent. So it doesn't have to be as elaborate as mine as well. As a reminder, I've been doing this for a very long time, so it's taken me over a decade, I should say, to get to the point that I'm at. So don't feel discouraged or intimidated. My way of practicing is for me. Your way of practicing is absolutely perfect for you. I hope you never feel intimidated or overwhelmed on this channel. I'm here to help in any way that I can, I promise. Another very important sacred space that you might want to consider, and something that was really important to me and still is to this day actually, is my bed. So that is a place where I meditate. That is a place where I've had dreams where my deities have come to me and given me messages through dream work. If you are a witch who's interested in perhaps some of the more spicy magic, we'll say, to keep this PG, the bed might be an important, or the bedroom at least, might be a really important place for you in your practice. Another room that you could perhaps turn into a sacred space throughout your home, if you are interested in doing so, is your bathroom, and having a bathtub or a shower that you use for ritual workings. Well, use in general, but maybe having certain items that you keep in your bathroom. This room can be treated as a sacred space, especially when you are doing maybe a cleansing ritual, a cleansing bath, a ritual bath, something like that. Final place that I wanted to talk about inside the home that I think is really significant and could possibly be turned into a sacred space, just depending on your practice, is the kitchen. The hearth, or the kitchen, is very important to kitchen witches, or witches who do magic specifically in the kitchen through cooking and baking, etc. However, historically, the hearth, or the fire, the furnace, right, was really the life of ancient homes. It's what sustained the family throughout cold winters, throughout all of the year, right? So it was very, very important. And a lot of witches today are returning to placing that importance on the kitchen and are delineating that, I guess, as their specific sacred space where they do practice. So Definitely getting creative inside the home. I literally love like witchy home decor. Like, yes, absolutely, I am a practicing witch, but also witchcraft vibes are immaculate, and I would have loved them either way, whether or not I was actually practicing, but I am. So, now when we are talking about the home, let's take a look outdoors. Right now, I live in an apartment, so a lot of my practice is centered around the home and inside the home. So I don't really have like a nice big yard. I live downtown, in case you couldn't tell by all of the noise going on. So it is like very hard for me to find green spaces. So a lot of my workings and I have a lot of plants in the home and stuff to bring the outside in. Yeah. But some outdoor sacred spaces, or some outdoor spaces that you can turn into sacred spaces for yourself and for your practice. You might want to consider your garden. That is a very special place for a lot of witches. It's where we can grow herbs to help our practice. And actually, herbs can be made into medicines to help heal us if that is your path, if that's something you're interested in. Gardens provide us a really great space to not only cultivate for ourselves in our vision or however we would like it, but also a place to, again, commune with the universe and maybe find a sense of peace, or even a sense of power. And keeping that in mind, if I have any gardening witches or gardening friendly witches, I would love to hear about your gardens. If maybe having a whole garden is a lot for you, because I don't have a yard, I actually have like a corner of my front porch, or like, I guess back porch, whatever, that is specifically dedicated to growing my herbs and stuff, as well as the stuff that I have inside. But if you are maybe somebody who can't practice as openly, maybe just having a specific plant that you are growing that is going to help your practice in some way. You don't have to tell anybody about it. You don't have to give people a reason as to why you're growing it. So yeah, definitely start small. Maybe treat yourself to a new plant and a new pot to put it in, and place it somewhere in and around your house. That plant can really establish, or at least delineate for you, what your sacred space is. Now, if you're like me and are in an apartment, maybe your balcony is a really nice, peaceful place. You can put some plants up, maybe a nice place to sit and just enjoy the world around you. Whatever that looks like for you, perfectly fine, and I encourage you to be as creative as possible. I also want to encourage you guys to explore the world around you, maybe finding some new hiking trails or a patch of woods or what have you around you that you can go and just be. Now, of course, always being safe when you are going out into the woods. I don't want anyone getting hurt. Safety first, always. But if you are like me and are not surrounded by wilderness, there are tons of like state parks, local parks, even if you are lucky enough, national parks, that you can go and visit and definitely lose yourself a little bit in those hiking trails, maybe finding that deeper connection with nature that you so seek. When you are not on a piece of land that you are like in ownership of, or you're unable to change, this is when that energetic drawing of a boundary or casting a circle, especially like, again, when you are in public spaces, is really a great way to create that sacred space and establish it even further, to say, no, the area that in which I stand is sacred and protected. It can be really helpful to delineate that, and I find that when it comes to spell work and ritual work, as soon as I cast my circle, I'm like really focused. You can also cast circle inside as well. I do it all the time. Again, it really just helps me prepare for ritual, so there's never a bad time to cast circle in my book. Yes, sacred spaces are definitely all around you, and you can find them wherever you are in the world, or create them yourself. Well, hopefully this was an informative video for you. If you have any questions at all, please, as always, feel free to leave them down below. This is, again, is a very non-judgmental space, and I don't believe in stupid questions, so don't be afraid. I'm here. And I will help you to the best of my ability. So yeah, that is my video for today, and I'll see you guys in the next one.